So today we'll be taking up a topic related to farmers, which was in newspaper. In the page number 9 of Hindu newspaper today, we have an article saying that Congress launches Kisan Nyay scheme. Congress government in Chhattisgarh launches Kisan Nyay scheme. And that article says that it is basically a cash assistance plan for the farmers in Chhattisgarh, right? So in this context, we'll try to analyze what are these cash transfer schemes to the farmers by different governments and how effective are they. So starting with the scheme which is in the news, its full name is Rajiv Gandhi Kisan Nyay Yojana scheme. Rajiv Gandhi Kisan Nyay Yojana scheme. So this is the scheme, and this is initiated by the Chhattisgarh state government. Chhattisgarh state government. And what is this scheme? Broadly and simply speaking, this scheme basically puts cash in the hands of the farmers, right? Directly, without any conditions. It's not like a loan, but it is directly putting cash in the hands of the farmer. These kind of schemes are known as income transfer schemes, direct cash transfer schemes to the farmers. Right. So before we discuss the details of the scheme, let us first get a perspective of the agricultural sector in our country. If we see the agricultural sector, around 50% of the workforce, 50% of the country's workforce, that means all the people who are employed, if we see the count, 50% of the workforce is engaged still in agriculture. Almost 50%. And if we go deep into the rural areas, if we especially focus the rural areas, in rural areas, still 75% of the livelihoods are dependent on agriculture. 75% of the livelihoods. Now, these facts clearly explain that agriculture is still playing an important role in India's economy. But from very many recent years, we are seeing that agriculture is facing distress. And one of the major problem for the farmers, because of which they are facing distress, is lack of credit. Lack of credit. Credit is nothing but the loan which the farmers get. So lack of proper access to these credits is the major challenge which the farmers are facing. Why? Because if we analyze the present scenario, the banking infrastructure is not in proper reach to the farmers. So the farmers are still relying on the money lenders. Money lenders are the private individuals who give loans to different people. In the villages, still the farmers are relying on these money lenders for the credit, for the loans. And these money lenders are still charging exorbitant interest rates, huge interest rate on the loan. They put a huge interest rate on the loan. And as farmer has no other option and he needs money at any cost for buying all the inputs, only when he has the money to buy all the inputs, only then he can produce, right? And only then he'll be ready to create the crop produce. But because of improper access to this banking credit, he is forced to take the money from these money lenders. And unfortunately, because of various reasons, maybe the price of the particular crop has crashed on that day, on that particular season, or maybe there was some disaster like a cyclone or a flood or a drought, whatsoever may be the reason, the farmers may not be able to repay back the loan to the money lenders within the time. Now, that actually puts farmer in a very tough situation, because he is unable to pay back the loan which he took from the money lender. Farmers either sell their land to the money lender and become landless, or they take a loan from a different money lender to pay back the loan to the previous money lender. So either they are going landless, or they are getting into a vicious cycle of this debt. They are taking a new debt just to repay back the old debt. This is known as vicious cycle of debt. So either the farmer is going landless or he is getting into this trap of debt cycle. This is causing farmer suicides. So the major challenge is access to proper formal credit, that is loans, money. So to tackle this problem, the Chhattisgarh government has now taken the initiative of Kisan Nyay Yojana scheme, right? So what is it doing in this scheme actually? So basically, as a part of this scheme, the Chhattisgarh government is assuring farmers that it will be giving 10,000 rupees per acre to the farmers. For all the farmers in Chhattisgarh state government who are growing paddy and maize. Paddy is a crop and maize is another crop. All the farmers who are paying these two crops, they would be given 10,000 per acre. 10,000 rupees. And those farmers who are growing sugarcane would be getting 13,000 rupees per acre. These are the two steps taken by Chhattisgarh state government. Basically, it's trying to put cash directly in the hands of the farmers so that they need not go to the money lenders for this money. And also it helps farmers to repay back their debts also. So with this idea, these kind of steps are taken by Chhattisgarh state government. The two important things we have noted down. However, there is a small flaw, in fact, a major flaw in this scheme. That is, it still doesn't recognize landless laborers. See, farmers can be broadly divided into two types in India. First is those farmers who are the landowners also. So the second type of farmers are those who don't own the land. They just simply work on the land. They are the laborers and they are the cultivators. They just cultivate the land and give the produce to the landowners. So two types of farmers are there, to broadly speak, in India. One is a farmer who owns the land. The other is a farmer who doesn't own a land but depends on agriculture for his livelihood. So this scheme basically tackles all those who have land but not those who don't have land. But the government today has told that in the next phase of the scheme, it would be definitely incorporating this landless farmers also, right? So farmers are of two types in India, that we need to have a clarity. This is in brief about the present scheme which was in news, the Nyay Yojana. And in this context, there were also similar initiatives taken by various state governments which were in news for various reasons in the last 1 year. So we need to know about those schemes also. All these schemes are known as income transfer schemes. They simply put cash directly in the hands of the farmers. It's not like a loan. It's not like a loan waiver. It's simply putting cash in the hands of farmer so that he has enough money to buy all the inputs he requires for agriculture, right? So apart from the Chhattisgarh government scheme, even our government of India in the last year, in the month of February, has launched a scheme called PM Kisan scheme. You might have come across this scheme. It is PM Kisan scheme. So this PM Kisan scheme is Kisan Samman, it's also known as Kisan Samman Nidhi, right? So this scheme basically tries to put 6,000 rupees per annum in the hands of the farmers. 6,000 rupees per year in 3 installments. These minute details may come in prelims questions, so we need to be thorough with them. So 6,000 rupees per year in 3 installments, right? And this is completely a central sector scheme. Central sector scheme are those schemes where the funding for a particular scheme comes entirely from the central government. Then it is known as central sector scheme. The center funds 100% for this scheme. There is no contribution from the states as far as this PM Kisan scheme is considered, right? So it's a central sector scheme. It gives 6,000 rupees in 3 installments. But this scheme talks about only those who are land owning farmers. So the PM Kisan scheme talks about only those farmers which are land owning. Only those who own the land will get 6,000 rupees per annum. So all those agricultural landless laborers and the tenant farmers and the cultivators who actually doesn't own the land, they are left out in this scheme. They are not included. And also this scheme one positive thing is it tries to exclude all those people who own agricultural lands but don't depend on agriculture for their income. For example, we have doctors, we have engineers, we have income tax payers, and we have some pensioners who get good pension, but they don't depend on agriculture for income, but they do own some agricultural lands. All such kind of people are excluded from the benefits of this scheme. We need to remember that also, right? So this is PM Kisan scheme in brief. Now, apart from this scheme, we also have a scheme initiated by the Telangana state government that is known as Raitu Bandhu scheme. Raitu Bandhu scheme. So this is also an income transfer scheme. Directly it puts cash in the hands of farmers. However, there are some small changes. There are both positives and negatives when you compare this to the national scheme, that is the Kisan scheme which we have discussed. So one positive thing is it gives more money compared to the Kisan scheme. If we analyze the agricultural pattern in India, broadly we can divide it into Kharif season and Rabi season. Kharif season in the monsoon time and Rabi season during the November to February months, the winter months. So 2 seasons will be there in India. So this Telangana state government tries to give 5,000 rupees per acre every season. So for Kharif season, they would be giving 5,000, and even for the Rabi season, they would be giving 5,000. So this is a more amount compared to the national scheme. However, this scheme also excludes tenant farmers, the agricultural laborers, and the cultivators. Even this scheme misses out these people, right? And only land owning farmers are given the benefits under this scheme. But just imagine, if we go to any bank or any financial institution, or to that matter any microfinance institution also, to get a loan, definitely they would ask for a surety or a collateral. If we take the example of a land owning farmer, as he owns the land, he can show his land as a surety and get a loan. But think about the agricultural laborers and the cultivators. They don't own a land, but they work on the land for their livelihood, but they don't own a land. So even the banks don't come forward to give loans to such people, right? So for sorting out this issue, government has brought many initiatives. Out of that, this direct cash transfer is one such initiative, right? So this is Raitu Bandhu scheme. And also Odisha state government has also come up with a scheme last year. It is Kalia scheme, K-A-L-I-A, Kalia scheme, right? So this Kalia has an abbreviation. We have to know that it is Krushak Assistance for Livelihood and Income Augmentation. For livelihood and income augmentation. Krushak Assistance for Livelihood and Income Augmentation. Now this scheme, we can say that it is a more comprehensive scheme. This is a better scheme compared to our national scheme and the scheme of Telangana. Why? Because this scheme tries to accommodate or include even landless agricultural laborers and tenant farmers. So this scheme tries to include the landless agricultural laborers and tenant farmers also. And also, apart from this, even the scheme goes to an extent of providing life insurance and accident insurance for the farmers also. So the scheme also provides life insurance and accident insurance of 2 lakh rupees for the farmers. This way, this scheme is comparatively a better scheme than the PM Kisan scheme. And also, coming to the money, this scheme announced 10,000 rupees per family. 10,000 rupees per family. Right? So these are some details which we have to remember. And the next scheme is Raitu Bharosa scheme by the state of Andhra Pradesh. Raitu Bharosa scheme. So this scheme is also an income transfer scheme, and this scheme tries to give 13,500 rupees for the farmers. Right? Numbers, if you're not sure also, it's okay, but it's better to note them down because there might be a chance that it might come as a prelims bit. So 13,500 rupees per year to the farmers. And even this scheme also tries to include the tenant farmers, the landless agricultural farmers, and the cultivators also. Right? So this scheme is also a comprehensive scheme like the Odisha's Kalia scheme. And also, apart from this cash transfer, under this scheme, the state of Andhra Pradesh is also trying to extend zero interest loans to the farmers. Zero interest loans. So they won't be charging any interest on the loans which they give to the farmers. This is known as zero interest loans. So the government is extending even zero interest loans to the farmers. And also small irrigation projects are also being taken up under this scheme by the state of Andhra Pradesh. So these are some details. However, one important or unique thing about this scheme is that this scheme strictly says that only those farmers or those landowning people who have their livelihood on agriculture, only those are eligible for taking the benefits under this scheme. Right? So it clearly says and strictly says that one of the condition for enjoying the benefits under this scheme is, it says they must be associated with agriculture. Only then they would be eligible for this cash transfer. Right? So these are in a nutshell different income transfer schemes that various governments have announced. So these are important with respect to prelims. Like for example, which state has initial scheme, like Raitu Bharosa by AP, Raitu Bandhu by Telangana, Kalia by Odisha. So we need to be thorough, like which state has launched which scheme. With respect to mains, when we are talking about farmers issues or there are questions about how to solve farmers issues, definitely we can cite these as some good initiatives taken by the state governments and the national government. So with respect to prelims and mains, we have to use this data in such way. Now, if we come to the merits and demerits of such income transfers, definitely, if we come to the merits, definitely such income transfers are of very much use to the farmers. As we have discussed, these kind of direct cash transfer schemes, they will bring the farmers out from this vicious cycle of debts. So the farmers would be relieved from the money lenders' harassment. It stops the farmer from becoming land owning to landless. Because the government is giving money, they can use this money for continuing agriculture rather than depending on money lenders' loans, right? So that is the first important benefit. And the second important benefit is, apart from helping the farmers, if we try to analyze this in a macroscopic view, that means in a broad view, if we try to see the benefit of the scheme, as we are putting money in the hands of the farmers, and as majority of the people in rural villages are farming communities, consumption would be increasing. Consumption of goods would be increasing. In the present scenario, we are seeing about economic slowdown in the newspaper everywhere. Now, this economic slowdown is primarily because of low consumption demand in India. People are getting jobless or people are getting very low wages that they are unable to consume the goods. And that is causing the slowdown. So these kind of schemes, if we see in a broader perspective, also help to increase the rural consumption demand. This word is important. This kind of schemes improve the rural consumption demand in the villages. People will be willing to buy more and more as they have cash in their hands, right? So this is a second important benefit. The third important benefit is, as farmers have money in their hands now, they have access to good inputs, like they can buy good seeds, they can try good technologies, or they can go for better practices, right? So in this way, productivity in agriculture increases. Productivity in agriculture increases, right? And the fourth important benefit is, our government has taken a resolution that it has to double the farmers' income by 2022. So there's a target set by Government of India saying it wants to double the farmers' income by 2022. Now, such kind of income transfer schemes definitely help farmers to improve their productivity, and in turn they would be getting good prices and their farming would be a remunerative sector. And ultimately this definitely helps to double the farmers' income by 2022. So this is the fourth most important benefit, doubling the farmers' income by 2022. So these are some benefits. Now, what are the challenges with such schemes? Now, there is no doubt it is of useful to the farmers as they're getting cash. But the major flaw which we have discussed in some schemes is tenant farmers and agricultural laborers are excluded. This is an important issue because, as we have discussed, they don't even have any security or collateral to go to banks to get the loans. So only the government has to help them. So this income transfer scheme definitely helps them. But unfortunately, even in the PM Kisan scheme, these landless laborers are excluded. So this is one major challenge. The second challenge is in India, land records maintenance is also not up to the mark. Like which property belongs to whom, how much does a person own, what plot belongs to whom, all this kind of data is still working in progress. Like still we are in the process of updating the land records. We did not completely maintain a foolproof land record system. That is not yet developed. We are still in the process of developing. So identifying the beneficiaries and how to help the farmers based on land, as the schemes are primarily based on land, cash assistance is per acre. So without proper land records maintenance, it is somewhat difficult for implementing such direct cash transfer schemes, right? And the third most impact which such schemes can have on agriculture is land fragmentation. This is an important term. Land fragmentation. Land fragmentation is nothing but a process where land is divided between various farmers. The average land holding size of a farmer decreases. Like previously, if it was some 10 acres a farmer owns, now it is only average 1.05 acres a farmer owns. So it's like that. I just told for an example. So the average size of land which a farmer owns is decreasing. So now when we introduce such kind of income transfer schemes where we are saying that landowning farmers would be getting some so and so amount of money, definitely this would incentivize people, or this would motivate people to have land on their own name. As a result, land fragments, family disputes can be there, and land would be divided. Land holders would be increasing. The land is same, but land holders will increase. More and more people will be willing to own land so that they would be getting money from the government. And this phenomenon is land fragmentation. This is not at all good for agriculture. Why? Because if land fragmentation takes place, everyone owns only small amount of land. They would be getting only small amount of revenue from that land, and with that small amount they cannot procure any good amount of seeds or any good technologies or good practices. It would be just enough for their subsistence, for their living. That's all. Only when the land is big, only when all the farmers are in a union, only then in big scale we can get profits, and using those profits or those money we can invest in agriculture. When the land is small, the farmer may not recover more amount from the land. So this is land fragmentation. That is also not good for agriculture. And other most important flaw is for the tribals. Now if we take the case of tribals, tribals have a culture of community ownership. Tribals own a land as a community. They don't own land on their names. Land is seen as a community resource by the tribals. Now this makes it difficult to implement these income transfer schemes in tribal areas, because these schemes are essentially based on land. And as the tribals don't have proper land records and all the tribals own the land as a community resource, definitely implementation of this scheme is difficult for tribals. So this is also a major challenge. So these are some challenges with respect to this scheme. And now then, what is the way forward? Like if we see, such kind of income transfers are definitely needed for a farmer. We have discussed it. However, this is only analyzing the farmer's issue in one dimension. There are various dimensions associated with it. Just think of, if there is no proper transportation for the farmer from the villages to the markets. Just imagine if the farmer is not getting the expected price. Just imagine if the price of the crops has fell down so much. Then this income transfer scheme would not simply solve all these issues. These are some structural issues which exist in agriculture. So some structural reforms are also needed along with these income transfer schemes, right? Structural reforms are needed in agriculture. This is an important term. What are the structural reforms? As we have discussed, good transport infrastructure, good marketing, good market access, sustainable farming practices, and food processing industries. These are some structural issues. these structural issues has to be solved. At the same time, such income has to be given. Simply giving income to the farmers and not solving all these issues which we have noted down would not help farmers up to an extent. See, farmers might have cash in their hand, but what if they don't know the best practice? Then productivity definitely will not improve, though farmer has cash in his hands. So this must be seen in a comprehensive way, and all these dimensions have to be tackled with respect to agriculture. Only then we can make agriculture a remunerative sector.